Have you ever really stopped to think about the absolute magic that's packed into the tiny batteries that run our lives? I mean, from your TV remote to your smartphone, they are literally everywhere. But how do they actually work? Well, in this explainer, we're going to crack them open and find out. Right? It's a great question. We take them completely for granted, but inside every single one of those batteries is a silent and visible process that turns simple chemistry into electrical power. So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how it's done. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, then zoom right into the battery's core parts. After that, we'll get to see the chemical dance that creates the power, understand the force that makes it all move, and finally, see how this science ends up powering your screen. Okay, first up, the power in your palm. And seriously, just think about it for a second. Without batteries, our whole wireless, portable, on-the-go lifestyle would just stop. They are the quiet, unsung heroes, the invisible foundation of our entire connected world. So here's the big secret. A battery isn't like a tiny fuel tank that just holds a bunch of electricity. No, it's way cooler than that. It's actually a self-contained power plant. It stores energy in a chemical form, and then whenever you need it, it converts that chemical energy into electrical energy. And it all happens through a perfectly controlled, predictable reaction. So, how about we pop the hood on this little energy engine? To really understand how a battery works, you only need to get to know the 3 key players doing all the work inside. First up, let's meet the anode. This is the negative side of the battery, and you can think of it as the starting line in a race. It's made of a material that is just packed, absolutely bursting with electrons that it is desperate to get rid of. It is the generous giver in our little story. And of course, every race needs a finish line, right? Well, that's the cathode. It's the positive side. The cathode is made of a material that's kind of electron poor, and it is incredibly eager to accept all those electrons the anode is trying to give away. You've got a giver and a taker. It's a perfect chemical match. But there's a third super important player, the electrolyte. Now, this is a special chemical sauce that acts as a very clever gatekeeper between the anode and the cathode. It lets other charged particles move back and forth, but, and this is the most important part, it physically blocks the electrons from taking the direct route. By blocking that path, the electrolyte forces those electrons to take the long way around, right through your device. And that brings us to the real heart of the matter, what we're calling the chemical dance. Now, the scientific names for this dance are oxidation and reduction. Don't let the names scare you. They're just the 2 fundamental steps that actually release the battery's energy. It's really just a perfectly balanced partnership. Over at the anode, our starting line, oxidation happens. That's just the fancy science term for the anode material losing its electrons. And at the cathode, our finish line, reduction happens, which just means the cathode material is gaining those exact same electrons. One side loses, the other side gains. Simple as that. So let's trace that electron's journey step by step. First, the anode gives up its electrons. Second, because the electrolyte is blocking their path, they have to flow out onto the electron highway. That's the circuit inside your phone or your remote. That flow is electricity. And finally, they complete their trip at the cathode, which happily welcomes them home. But wait a second, why do the electrons even bother to move in the first place? What's the push? Well, that leads us to the force that gets this whole party started, a concept called EMF. Now, despite its name, electromotive force isn't a force like gravity or a push. A much better way to think about it is as electrical pressure. Imagine you have 2 water tanks connected by a pipe. One is full, one is empty. That difference creates pressure that makes the water flow, right? Well, EMF is pretty much the electrical version of that pressure, pushing electrons from the crowded anode to the empty cathode. And we actually have a way to measure that pressure: volts. When you see 1.5 volts printed on the side of a regular AA battery? Well, you're looking at a direct measurement of its electromotive force. It's just a number that tells you exactly how much push that little battery can provide to get those electrons moving. It really all boils down to this simple idea. That phrase, chemical potential difference, is just a fancy way of saying how badly the anode wants to give up its electrons and how badly the cathode wants to grab them. The bigger that chemical desire, the bigger the pressure, and the higher the voltage. Okay, so let's zoom back out. We've met the anode and the cathode, we've watched their chemical dance. Now let's connect the dots and see how this tiny engine, this little EMF cell, translates from pure science into the power for your screen. Honestly, the impact is just staggering. This one single principle powers your phone, gets scaled up to massive sizes for electric cars, and gets miniaturized for life-saving pacemakers. It runs satellites in space, it powers our kids' toys, and it's inside pretty much every single wireless device you own. It all comes back to that same simple, elegant chemical dance. So we've gone from a simple metal cylinder to the fundamental process that powers our entire modern world. It's a principle that's over 200 years old, yet somehow it's more critical today than it has ever been. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Now that we've mastered this chemical dance, what new combinations, what new materials, what new dances will we invent to power the next 200 years?